We are the PrinnyCast. I'm Chris, a fighting game and anime aficionado.
I'm Grover, a lover of all simulation games and strategy and whatever I like to play whenever I decide to play it.
I'm Mike, and I mostly dabble in some Smash Brothers.
We can tell. And this is the Roundtable, where we casually gather to discuss the events of the week in the worlds of gaming and geekdom in and out of our own lives. And that trailer you're watching back there is the very promising first look at the gameplay to Mad Max. And I'm a sucker for good car combat, and it's like it's doing a pretty admirable job from those early peaks. And so this has kind of been one of those weeks. It's been full of storms. But yeah, the gaming this week sounds like it's been very slim. So I think what have we been up to this week is going to be kind of a short one. I've said that before and been proven wrong. But so, how about you, Grover?
First, I played Banished, and I haven't played that in a long time. I don't think I used it. Actually, I did play modded, because I used that unofficial expansion, CC's Excellent Adventure. That's the name of the mod. That adds, all this stuff and makes the game crazy advanced. And I played it, I streamed it for 8 hours, and they seem to all enjoy it. They come and go. Then I played more City Skylines. I'm trying to back off on this. This is the less I've played it in a while since it came out, because I started to have the burnout. It's happening. So I'm backing off, playing it about 3 days a week.
Sucks when you start burning out of one of your favorite games at the time.
Yeah, no joke. And it's not that, if I play it by myself, I don't even burn out. Because it's just build this, build that, build that. You have all the time in the world. When I'm streaming, it's different. They want me to build in curves, they don't want me to do grid, and they want it to look nice. And that starts eating on you after a while. It starts torturing you.
Yeah, other people telling you how to play the game.
And I haven't been doing it anymore. I'm training myself to not look at people who are following. The only time that you were to look at that other screen is when someone has followed announces. Otherwise, your eyes are on that game and not anything else. If you hear beep at somebody chat, go look, which some people get driven crazy about that too. They're like, what's that beep? I was like, that lets me know that when you're speaking. Well, why can't you just glance over every 5 seconds? Because I can't do that. If I turn it off, I guarantee you I will ignore every one of you. And I did it before. They had me turned off, and I didn't notice for 30 minutes that they were talking. Mm-hmm. Then I played Civilization 5. Ooh. And this is not a stream game, apparently. No one wants to watch me play Civ 5. No one. I've played it twice this week, and during that time, I can see who came and who left, and nobody comes in and stays for more than 30 seconds. And there's no follows when that
It is probably one of the slowest moving games in existence that's considered popular. So watching it is definitely a chore for people.
It is crazy niche. If you don't know how to play Civilization 5 and you come on and you watch somebody, it's like looking at a different language. Mm-hmm. You have no clue what's happening. You have no understanding of why they're doing anything. So, these are tell me about this game. I've never seen this before, and I've actually got one person to buy it, but they just don't stay for very long, because one, if they start playing it, usually they don't have dual screen, and they're like, well, him, I'm gonna play this. Mm-hmm. And then 19 hours later, they're like, oh wow, that was awesome. And that's what it's like. Then I played Clash of Clans. I'm still the same level. I'm still just upgrading stuff. I want to get everything upgraded to max before I go to the next level, because next level's big. And just that. I've even got it so that I've got my townhouse outside of my base, so they can just attack my townhouse and take trophies, and I get a 12-hour no attack period, which some people are just like, that's kind of weak. I'm like, yeah, but that's tons and tons of money for me. They usually just take my trophies and run for it. Then I played Guild Wars, and I didn't play much Guild Wars at all. I haven't even been doing my dailies. That's yeah, I found out that it doesn't reset if you miss days. You can come back and you're right back where you were. I'm just like, and that just gave me no reason to come back at all for some weird reason. Then I played Prison Architect, and that was fun. That was an awesome night. That game can be frustrating. I forgot that the power generators cannot be linked together. They will blow each other up immediately. So this prison of 300 people just suddenly all power turned off, and I could not figure it out, and I sat there for 25 minutes on stream just frantically trying to figure out what was wrong. But yeah, it was fun. It was a blast, and that's about it. I didn't watch anything. I think I reread a couple books that I've already mentioned before, so
cool.
And writing, but that doesn't count towards anything.
Oh yeah. It's part of your daily life. That works. Mm-hmm. And we know Mike's a little on the Smash Brothers there.
Yes, yeah, I've played a lot of Smash Brothers this week. When I was playing games, that's pretty much what I played. That or World of Warcraft. I did watch some more Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm about halfway through the second season, but other than that, I haven't really done anything. I've been working too much. It's boring stuff for me, and same old.
And it's going to be pretty much on that line with me, too. I got the Tynan going. I got the Guild Wars 2 daily stuff going. Still doing Inferno Legend. Still don't know why. And yeah, the other browser-based Congregate game, Forge of Gods, I'm still running on that too. But it has a system I like. It's just so... I'd have to really explain the mechanics to explain this, but basically you go through the first two screens, and the third screen is where the boss is. You will wipe out everything, completely overpowered, get to the boss, and he'll wipe you out in 4 hits. It is frustrating beyond belief, because if you lose, you get no money, you get no experience. You start over. So you have to go and grind somewhere else, and there's not that many places to grind on this game, so you're stuck looking for exploits more than you are playing the game. But there's that. I finished Soul Eater Not, and you guys might remember how I was kind of complaining that it's such a departure from the original Soul Eater because it went all kind of cutesy type stuff. Well, it actually had some really decent fight scenes throughout it, and the final twists were kind of interesting too. So it pulled itself together. So in its place, I started Moretsu Pirates, which is completely not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be one of those crazy over-the-top space anime type things with the kooky characters and everything, and it sort of is, but for the most part, it's taking itself a lot more seriously than I thought it would, and that's a nice surprise, actually. They're actually using their brains a little bit, but it has some of that really poor pacing, whereas some stuff will take several episodes of an anime to put together the scenario, and then
Dragon Ball Z!
And then it will just jump what seems like this could be 6 months that they just skipped. What happened? So, they got 26 episodes to fill what it feels like should be a 100-episode anime. So I think that's what's happening. And speaking of long anime, I forgot to mention this last week, but still on the Detective Conan, so I'm doing all those mysteries. I forgot how interesting some of them are and how stupid some of them are. But that's the premise in a nutshell. And yeah, there we are. All done already.
I remember watching that show.
I was on Cartoon Network there for a while. I didn't realize they got that far up on the English dub on Cartoon Network. They were well into
garbage.
Yeah, they were well up into season 2 before they stopped on there. So that was like 28 episodes they had, and possibly more. I may have just quit watching it, but I think they were rerunning. That's why I stopped. But yeah, I guess moving right along, there's some big stuff that happened this week, and not necessarily the happy stuff. The Star Wars Battlefront trailer is out, and you can tell by looking at it there's some misleading things going on, but it looks really nice if that is what we can actually expect. However, gone are the space battles, which is of course one of the staples of Star Wars. There is no campaign or galactic conquest mode anymore. The players are capped at 40. There are no AI bots anymore. All of the characters and units are from the original trilogy only, and there's a rumor that there's only 4 planets, whereas of Star Wars Battlefront 2, I believe, had 14. So not only is this a large downgrade from the previous and much, much older titles, it's removing about every last reason for me to enjoy it. No single player, no AI bots. That means everything is forced to be online only, and have we learned nothing about Battlefield 4 and Titanfall?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that they were awful, they just kind of lacked in content after a while. And
who's making this? Is this EA?
Yep.
Oh,
EA and
that's what I
DICE.
figured. Who knew that it was EA? I was just like, this has to be EA. I swear it's EA. It's just, they haven't learned.
Yeah, well, quick little blurb here about Final Fantasy IV. The After Years is joining Final Fantasy III, and the Final Fantasy IV reboots that were on the DS is now on Steam, so happy more gaming for Final Fantasy fans. But the real uproar in gaming right now is Steam unrolling paid mods for games using the Steam Workshop. So what's so bad about that, Chris, you ask? Why an uproar for creators getting paid for their hard work, you wonder? Well, there's some complaints about that. Modding community has always done it for free in the past, so why pay them now? But work is work. If they can get paid for good work, let them get paid.
Yeah, I have no issue.
Gather around. Launching specifically with Skyrim at present, there's a lot of creators with popular mods who are already charging future downloaders for the stuff that they've already released, which is making quite a people upset. Certainly I can see the argument because they got it for free so long, but they can't anymore.
So it removed it from their game and now they have to pay? Oh, wow.
No, it hasn't done that, thankfully.
Okay.
But that's not the hubbub. Some are charging cheap, like a quarter. Others are charging upwards of $20, depending on the scope of the mod and what the modder sets it for, because they have full control over what they're setting it for. And that's causing a little bit of a stir, too, because, some people are feeling that you're overcharging this for putting this weapon for this much. This guy's only charging for this much. But no, here's the kicker. Valve is graciously only going to take 75% of the profits from these modders' efforts.
Wow!
Now, we saw this tactic before with Team Fortress 2 when they did all its content stuff, and it was kind of grumbled at back then. At the same time, these modders are getting paid something now, so I guess 25% of legal money is better than nothing at all, but I don't know, there's kind of a lot of taste that's sour and all of that.
Yeah,
I just want to
smack in the face.
I just want to say that if any other gaming company, besides possibly Nintendo, did something like this, there would be such a massive uproar that it would destroy the publicity of the company.
Mm-hmm.
They would have no PR anymore. So Valve is getting off easy right now, but who knows how long that'll stay.
Steam is it gets scary sometimes. Steam is so massively large now that they can literally, it's kind of like Will Wright, like they were joking that Will Wright can go out on an audience and piss on them and they would love it. And that's what it's like Valve. Now, Valve can go and smack your mom and you thank them afterwards and say how awesome they are.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, they can get away with almost anything because they're so massive and so integrated.
Steam literally is PC gaming right now. I mean, there's stuff like the websites like Congregate, there's some of the streaming systems, like, well, not on Live anymore, obviously, they're gone. And then you've got competitors like the Sewer and, of course, Origin, but for the most part, Steam is everything. So
and they're in consoles now, too. It's crazy.
Yep. So not the least of all of this type of stuff is the fact that it's going to make these companies a lot easier to ban mods they don't like at all, where they cross certain boundaries like copyrights, and they've already had issues with that before, like there was a Lord of the Rings Skyrim mod that was shut down a while back. So despite this being so new, there's even already several folks that's been caught stealing mods from other websites and uploading them under their own name and getting paid for it. To say nothing about the outlandishly cricket-infested barren wasteland that will be customer support for any of this. So everybody knows that, you know, when you're working with mods, a lot of times if you get more than one mod, they don't work together because they're going to be overriding each other or there's just something that's going to conflict. There is no customer support for this. You're paying money for something that could crash your system. Woohoo!
That's how it's always been for modding. Now you're paying money. That's how it was in Sims 2 when people were paying. If this happens, if something happens or it ruins your computer, it's not my fault. You can't sue me. Have fun finding me.
That's true. I forgot about the Sims Mall. They did do that type of stuff too. I guess we'll just see where it all goes. But, okay. I try not to get on these rants, but it's what is now, so bear with me. In the long tradition of comic book writers trying to destroy their franchises through shock value or just face-palmingly insulting inclusivity, you know, like Superman being an unapologetic mass murderer, or Thor is a woman, or Human Torch is black, or Starfire is a callous nymphomaniac, now we get to add that Bobby Iceman Drake in a storyline of the younger X-Men team from the original series coming forward in time to see how screwed up their modern counterparts admits to his psychic ally Jean Grey that he's gay, interpreting a few phrases and scenes and his sense of style, and apparently overrides the whole last 50 years of his history, even in the comic that itself says that the modern Barbie Drake is not gay, which is kind of insulting to gays if you think that, you know, that it can be cured.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not buying it. This is another marketing ploy, and most of us know it. But I wish the comic thing ended there, but there was something rather major that happened last week in CalX, which is the Calgary Comic Expo in Canada, had a bit of a scandal occur when the Honey Badgers, a group of largely women who support Gamergate and male rights, paid their way into a booth at the expo, and this was already enough to make some of the CalX folks nervous, because, you know, the media and special interest groups have been slandering Gamergate and men's rights quite heavily for some time. But then at a Women in Comics panel, one of its members, the comic creator Allison Tiemann, apparently had the audacity to speak up when male rights activists were being portrayed by the feminists on the panel as in improper light. And she wanted to clarify this is not what the case was, and what the real issue that MRAs like herself had with feminists.
That's just it. What had happened? At what point did all of a sudden did it become a dirty thing for women to be into this stuff? Like, in the eyes of so many of these men's rights activist types, or...
Would you like us to field that question? Would you like us to field that question? Because I am a men's rights activist, so you can hate on me. The reason why I don't like feminism is because you promote this idea that women are defined by being victims. If you look at the context of all of your issues, men also face considerable problems as well. And they need to be brought into the story, and not just for men's sake, because this hides men's vulnerability, also for the sake of challenging the notion that women are defined as victims.
Because of this act of sanity, the CalX force were bombarded, air quotes, with 20 complaints on social media. And when the news got out of what was said, of course, the narrative about passing out sexist propaganda and harassing people and all this other type of stuff came forth, and apparently by people who weren't even at the expo. So, what was the verdict for all of this? The entire Honey Badgers, all of them, were moved by security from the expo and even harassed by the police later as they had a picnic in a nearby park. Plus, they are banned for life at the CalX functions. And the Twitter account for the expo was even linking to a Mary Sue article that claimed that it was an infiltration job to intentionally bring a bunch of fake geeks, make sure that they were all women, in order to create a buzz for those horrible hate groups that are Gamergate and men's rights activists.
Wow.
The irony here is an avalanche of awful. So yeah, if you heard the term Expogate running around now, this is what this is about. Women complaining that that they are tired of being portrayed as damsels in distress and needing to be protected, and when somebody says, we're not damsels in distress, we don't need to be protected, we can do what we want to do, and we need to stop blaming men for our problems. And they make a damsel out of distress out of themselves. Yeah, okay, alright.
It's just the mentality of people that would complain about something like that in this day and age. That's all it is.
But they're the people in control. That's the sad part.
But you don't share their belief, Chris.
I know.
That makes you
so
evil.
Horrible.
We're horrible people because we don't think the way they do. Oh my goodness.
We should be all executed.
Yes, we should learn tolerance and execute people. Yes.
Exactly.
And I was going to scoot my soapbox out of the way, but there's one little bit left. Last bit of movie news. Not to say there's a whole lot really out there, except for pics of Daniel Harry Potter Radcliffe and James Young Professor X McAvoy in the new Frankenstein movie, and the car Paul Walker drove in the first Fast and Furious movie, an outfitted 1993 Toyota Supra, will be put on auction. But in the theme of the whole comic stuff, Adam Sandler's latest new Western farce movie called The Ridiculous Six garnered attention after over a dozen of its Native American actors walked off the set after dealing with one too many jabs poked at the Indian stereotype in the movie. So one of those situations where I can see both sides of the coin. I mean, for one thing, can you imagine if certain groups' reaction if this was done to them? We can kind of point to the feminists, for example, a moment ago. There's other racial communities that would be very offended if this happened to them. So on the one hand, I understand completely why they're offended. And on the other, humor is humor, especially when played against stereotypes. So, yeah. I guess
it's an Adam Sandler movie.
I guess.
What were they expecting?
There's the point. There it is. So that was the week in a nutshell. You can follow us at Twitter at PrinnyCast, and you can contact us with email at PrinnyCast@gmail.com. And thank you, Etna, for reminding me every time to put Grover's link up, because I can never think of the twitch.tv/PrinnyCast_Grover. Yes.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
But all of that stuff's down in the description box anyway. It's a heck of a lot easier just to click on that than type it all out anyway. So there you go. So next week, it's the new Avengers movie.
Oh boy.
I probably won't see it for 6 months.
Same.
But I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah. See you all next week.
See you next time.